Well, hello and welcome to Caribbean Soul Food Duo. And thank you for tuning in to us today. Today, I'm bringing you something super tasty. It's my all time favorite collard greens. And today, I'm making collard greens with smoked turkey. You got it. That's my all time best meat to cook in my greens. It is such a gloomy day outside. It's a wonderful day to stay in and cook. And I thought, what else could I do but bring you this awesome recipe today? Oh, but just remember one thing. Caribbean Soul Food Duo is not just a cooking channel. We also bring you some great mixes in music. You are going to have a fantastic time connecting with your kitchen, falling in love with cooking. That's what we aim to do, is to get you closer to serving up great dishes for your family and your friends. So stay tuned. We're going to get rocking with our great ingredients. Okay, guys, we're going to do something here that's going to help our cooking time cut down. So I have smoked turkey here. So with smoked turkey, you're going to want to put that on a little earlier. I would say about 2 hours before we add our greens. In this case, I have a smoked turkey wing, which has a lot of flavor. It's a cured meat, so it's very tasty, and it goes well with collard greens. So what you want to do is you want to wash your smoked turkey really, really good before you add it to the water. You want to make sure you get all of that excess fatty looking, stuff that's on it or around it. You want to just make sure it's really clean. And I've got a pot of boiling water on the stove. Now the pot is not full because you have to leave room for the turkey. But we're going to put this turkey in the water really carefully so that we don't burn ourselves with the hot water. And put it in just like really easy, just like that. And we're going to let this turkey boil for about 2 hours on a low to medium heat. So you want to bring your water to a boil, and when you start to boil it, you're going to let it cook a couple of hours, because once it has cooked and it's almost falling off the bone, you're going to want to take it out of the water. We're going to clean our container that we took it out with. We're going to put it back in that container, because at that time we're going to debone. We're going to get off all the fat, all the skin, and we're going to add the clean meat back to our greens, which is going to give us a beautiful pot of collard greens. So right now we're going to let this cook for about 2 hours, and we're starting this now, and we're going to move to the process of picking our greens and getting them washed up to add to the pot. Right after we take the turkey out, we're going to add the greens, then add the meat back in. Okay, so let's get going here with our green picking and our green washing, and we'll come back and see how our turkey has cooked up. When it cooks for about 2 hours and you see that it's kind of coming out the bone and that you can stick a fork through it, then you want to take it out. You're going to put it back in your clean container and let it sit while we add our greens, and we will come back and I'll show you how to clean it up. Okay? Okay, guys, let's get started with our great collard green recipe for today. I am so excited because I love collards. I think I told you this when I made my first collard green video, but I was raised as a little girl with these. Man, these are great when you put some cornbread, some tomatoes, onions, cucumbers on the side, maybe with some fried chicken. Oh, this is an amazing dish. So I'm going to show you how we should be picking our greens, how we should be cutting our greens, and how we should be selecting our greens. So in the store, you want to find a bundle of collard greens. Now, it depends if you're cooking for a big group, a small group, they taste the same, but you're going to want to go through each of your bundles and kind of see the healthiness of the green. You want to make sure there's not a lot of holes in the greens or brown spots or grit on the greens. I always talk about the grit thing. I don't like grit on my greens. So with our, processing equipment for today, there are big power washers that can pretty much wash all that away before it hits the store. So I always look for a cleaner green, even though we're going to wash these 3 to 4 times or as many times necessary to remove any excess grit or anything that may be found on the green. So when you find your greens in the store, they're going to be banded together. This is a wire band with a paper on it. It may come in a rubber band. If it comes in a rubber band, you're going to want to dispose of that rubber band away from your cooking space, as I will with the band here. Now, your greens, you're going to want to look at the tips. If you can see that, those look very brown. We don't want to eat that. We don't want to give it to anyone, and we don't want to eat that. So the first thing you're going to want to do in your green cooking is we're going to want to chop that away. Okay? And we're going to want to get our band off carefully. Okay? So that way we're not, rushing to do this. This is something we want to take time and do. You want to make sure you have the complete band with the wire attached. And you want to throw that band away. Now, I always keep a bag on my counter when I'm cooking greens so that I can put everything there and not have to keep walking back and forth to the garbage. Or I won't accidentally lay something down and forget it's there and it end up in the cooking pot. So you're going to want to put it in your little garbage bag, that you make while you're cooking here or preparing them. So before we get started with our cutting process, we're going to introduce our ingredients. Today we're going to use extra virgin olive oil. We're going to use chicken stock, salt. This is a sea salt. We're going to use Cajun seasoning and black pepper. Again, I always stress I don't add a lot of extra things to my greens, and everyone loves them. They're like, how do you make these greens? Well, I keep the green flavor alive by not adding a whole lot of other ingredients. Anything I want to add, I add it fresh on the side after the greens have cooked. Onion, bell pepper, tomatoes, anything you want to add on the side and eat naturally raw, wakes up the flavor of the greens. So we're going to get started here with looking at our greens. We want to look at each leaf and kind of just pick out anything that doesn't look good. And you can kind of just throw it away in your little bag. I've already got greens going in the sink, well, in my green pans. I actually use green pans that I purchased from a discount store, actually the dollar store. I love going to the dollar store to find great deals that I can use in the kitchen from time to time instead of spending a lot of money. So I have green pans. They are white pans that I can actually see what's at the bottom of them. So you look at these greens and look how healthy they look. So when you're selecting your green, you want to look at things like this. That's a healthy green. That's a really healthy green. That's something you want to eat. So you're going to pick through these greens like this, and if you have one bundle or 20, you're just going to keep doing this until you get it right. And then you're going to stack them. Now I stack them because I cut them. Feel free to tear your greens apart. I don't do that. I believe in perfection when I'm cooking my greens. When I cook, it's an art, and for me to tear something, it means I'm not really treating it, like an art. So I take the time and I stack my greens, then I roll and I cut my greens. In this case, I have a nice thick stack, which may be a little much for cutting one time because I have small hands. You want to have a sharp knife and you want to be careful, that you don't nick your fingers. But I'm going to roll my first little bundle here. We're going to put these aside. And the proper cutting for me is to roll. You want to roll your bundle of greens. I don't know if you can see that really good. It's just a nice little roll. When you cut your greens, I leave stem in my greens because a lot of the vitamins, I've been told, are within the stems. So as long as I cut the rough, dark edges off, I feel like I have a good green. So I'm going to start cutting just like that. I mean, in the old days, I kind of cut these like shoestrings because I really, really would get so involved in this. And I take pride in my collard greens because people that eat them say, wow, you got the best greens ever. Just like my dressing. But my kids say, oh, you can't share your dressing recipe on YouTube. But we'll have to, see if I can barter with them. I've been told that my greens and my dressing actually beat any restaurant that anyone has ever gone to. So, I'm humble about that, but at the same time, I take pride in my cooking. So I don't rush and throw you something together or my family something together. I take time and I cut, I mix, I chop, I stir. I have to do whatever I have to do to make it taste good. So you just want to continue to cut. And you can see you're getting nice long, stems, like strings like that. And guys, if you hear a train in the background, I apologize. I live off of a nice river, and there's a train, a commuter train and a freight train that goes in the back of my house. So all day long I have this, and I just really, really, I just really love it. It lets me know that I'm alive. So you're just gonna want to continue to chop, chop. And just like this, until you get down to the end. You know, I hope you guys can see that really good. There goes that train. So now, once we finish chopping here, we're gonna add these to the water in the sink or in the green pan. We're gonna put some lukewarm water, and we're gonna add some sea salt. That's gonna work as an abrasive against the greens when we're washing them. And I'm going to wash my greens. When I feel these, I think I can have them pretty much, you know, very clean after 3 washes, and I may just do 4 washes. So it depends on your greens and how gritty they are, or you know, just how comfortable you are. But I just like the green, you know, clean greens. So you're gonna want to wash your greens. I would say at least 3 times until you know that they're very clean. So once we finish that, I'll come back and I'll show you how we're going to put them in our pot with our meat that's been cooking for some time now. Okay guys, what we've done here is we've taken our turkey out of the pot so that it could cool down. We have added the greens to the pot and got them going into a good boil here so that they're cooking up. Now, while they're cooking, we're going to let the meat cool down before we add it back in. But we're gonna put in some seasoning. I got them going. I don't always like to add my seasoning right away, so we're gonna put in a little salt. We have some sea salt, as you can see, and we have some Cajun seasoning. This kind of wakes up the flavor of the greens. We have some black pepper. You're gonna want to add, you know, a nice amount of black pepper. Black pepper doesn't hurt it, as I've told you before. It just kind of spices it up a little. And a little olive oil. This is extra virgin. I like to add olive oil to my dishes. Gives it a kind of a creamy, greasy base. And I have some chicken stock. This is an unsalted stock, which we're going to use, but we're going to wait for about 15 minutes before our greens have gone through the cooking process. This is only to give it extra flavor toward the end. So we're gonna add that about 15 minutes before the greens are done. Now, once the meat has cooled down, what we're gonna do is debone it. We're gonna take the fat, any skin away, and we're going to add that back into the pot with the greens. You can do that at any process, you know, any part of this process. That's just gonna give it extra flavor. But you want to let your greens cook from a low to medium heat for about 2 hours. And along the way, feel free to add your meat. Feel free to season as you go, and always check the water level of your greens. You want to keep it somewhere around the top of the greens, just enough to cover, because greens you eat with cornbread, and cornbread with the juice, it tends to kind of soak in the, you know, the cornbread soaks in the juice. So I like my greens with a little stock to them. You may, you know, it depends on you. If you like yours a little drier, then you don't have to add as much. But remember to cook to a low to medium heat, stirring as you go, season as you go. Add your meat once it's cooled down. Make sure you add a clean meat back to your pot. And we're going to let these cook for a couple of hours, and we'll be back with a great pot of greens. Okay, guys, this is what our clean smoked turkey meat should look like when we complete the deboning process. Before we add add it into our greens, we want to make sure we get all the fat and all the skin away from the greens. Now, if you leave a little fat or a little greens, it's not going to hurt you. It will cook up pretty easy, but you just want to take all of the excess and the bones because if little kids are eating these, you don't want a shaved bone, you know, to end up at contact with their throat or something. So we just want to be extra cautious. But there you have it. There's your clean meat. It's going to go into the greens, and it will cook along, you know, for the duration of the green cooking. So just make sure you add in some clean meat and keep your hands washed along the way. When handling poultry products, chicken, turkey, make sure you're washing your hands continuously so that you do not carry in any type of bacteria along the way. Okay, we're going to add these to our greens now. Okay guys, there you have it. I've added the meat into the greens. Oh wow, they look so delicious. Look at them cook up so nicely. I've added in half a box of my chicken stock. And it's going to go, you know, with the completion of the cooking process here. I've tasted the greens to see if they're seasoned well, and I'm loving the salt. You know, all the flavors I'm getting seems to be enough right now. I don't want to add anything else. So you're just going to let your greens continue to cook down a little. As you can see, the nice broth here, oh, look at it. It's so tasty looking. And if you look at your meat, it just kind of mixes in there. Look at that. Oh my God, that is beautiful. Oh, I just can't wait to have my greens and cornbread. And I think Honey's gonna like this. But even though I'm doing this video today, I'm also doing Honey a special dish that you can't really see behind the scenes. I'm making him mustards and ham hocks today because he likes ham hocks. But Mommy likes greens, so Mommy's having collard greens. Mommy likes collard greens. I like mustard greens too, but we wanted 2 different meats, so we thought we'd do something different today. So you're just gonna let this continue to cook up. You're gonna taste your greens along the way to make sure they're nice and tender. Once you reach a level of tenderness, your greens will be ready to eat. So you wanna cook them on a low heat at this stage. You know, after you've added your clean meat, add your chicken broth. A half a box is really good. That's all you pretty much need. And then you're just gonna let them kind of simmer. You know, another half hour should be good, but taste along the way just to make sure they're nice and tender. Okay? And we'll come back with a final dish to let you see how they've really cooked up. You won't be disappointed. Okay guys, there you go. The collard greens with smoked turkey are all complete. I've paired it with some fried chicken, some cornbread, tomatoes, and green onion. I'm going to add some of my pepper sauce that I made about a week ago to really make this a complete meal. I want you to understand that when you cook greens, you're going to get a different flavor. It's totally up to you how you season them along the way. But your cooking time for your greens should be about an hour and a half after you've cooked your meat, for somewhere around an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I would say probably 2 hours of cooking time for your turkey and another hour and a half to 2 hours for your greens on a low temperature once they come to a boil. So I want you to enjoy your greens. And I also want to leave you with a note that if you have small children, please be careful when you're making things around the stove. You don't want to have them knock over a pot or something when you're cooking. And you also want to keep your hands clean when you're cooking throughout your cooking process, especially when handling poultry. So enjoy your meal. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. That's Caribbean Soul Food Duo. And I'm going to dig into this right now and enjoy my meal. Oh, yes. And I'll see you. Yes, Honey's got mustards and ham hocks going. It was a double green day in this house, so we're gonna compete for our greens today at the table. Yeah. Yes, so we'll see you. We'll catch you on our next Caribbean Soul Food Duo. Okay, enjoy. Bye bye.